Okay, folks, we're live. It's very exciting. Welcome to Hot Sauced or Hot Sauce Ed. And we are ready to go. We have one guest who is not here yet, but hopefully he'll be showing up soon. We have Brad Scheffler. Hi, Brad. How you doing?
What's going on, Derek? I'm so thrilled to be here. I can't wait.
Can you show us your selection? Show us your selection. I'm
let's
proud
see
of Brad.
I can do this hold again. I want to show them all off and get the labels right like a commercial. I got to get the whole effect. There we go. The array.
Right. Brad is ready to go. And then we also have our resident Texan, who is also the most fearful of this adventure, Carol Salva. Hello, Carol.
I'm miserable. I'm already freaking out. I am 100. I want you to know I'm 100% Hispanic. My mom's from Mexico. My dad's whole family's from Mexico. And I'm an embarrassment. I'm an embarrassment because I cannot handle hot food. So I'm already freaking out. All the good, hot, spicy Mexican food, I can't handle it. I'll show you my selection. This is from Louisiana. I don't know. It's what I could find in my cupboard.
Yep.
And then I have this, which is green pepper sauce, Tabasco sauce.
Yes.
And then this nightmare that you made us buy, which is the Tabasco habanero sauce. Oh, I can't. Habanero, I just know is supposed to be very hot. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, good
Thanks
work.
For having me.
Good work on the selection. I'm excited. So I'll explain to those. I mean, I know it's pretty obvious what we're doing, but I know there's a lot of education hot sauce shows out there, and a lot of people doing this. So.
Yeah,
How is ours different?
It's really a little ridiculous that we're just trying to weasel our way into this space.
Right, the hot sauce education niche. But let me explain what we're doing. So here is the deal, folks. If you are watching because there was an outpouring of people that said there's no way you can do this without making it video as well. So we are on YouTube Live, and you can watch the video. If you are listening on SaucED Radio, I suspect it will still be hilarious, and you're invited. So I feel like I need to give credit where credit is due, and there is a fantastic internet internet TV show called Hot Ones, hosted by Sean Evans, and he interviews various people, and he has hot wings, 10 hot wings in order from not so hot to extremely hot, and interviews people throughout. And I am addicted to this show. It is a fantastic show. He is an amazing interviewer, and the effect that the hot sauce has on people is really interesting. It kind of drops people's guards a bit. It's a bit of a different twist. You see some things you might not otherwise see, like how Carol is currently cowering in fear. So
I'm telling my daughter to figure out some way to get me out of this. I'm like, do you have some excuse? Is there some way?
Don't let her unplug the computer.
This is Angelica. She's here for moral support.
Hi, Angelica. You can do it too. You can join in.
I'm sure she's actually just there to laugh at you. Let's be honest.
That's probably what's going on.
Yeah, she is. And they said you can do the hot sauce too. Yeah, we'll see about that.
So this is what we're doing. So what we are doing is we're going to try these hot sauces together while I start asking some questions, and then we're going to bring everybody in. So everyone in the group is going to have a chance to ask a question, taste the hot sauce, answer the question. Logistics are a challenge here. I didn't think it was fair to ask everybody to buy 10 hot sauces in preceding order, and we happen to be in all different parts of the country, and I don't know if you guys have the same hot sauces I have, and the whole thing. So
multiple countries, different parts of.
I was going to say you're not in our country.
No, different parts of multiple countries.
That's right. We're happy to have you down here, though.
So, this is my son's popped up now as well. Here he is. Nice. So what we're going to do is...
What's going on, young Rodenizer?
So instead of having a selection of sauces, we have what you guys have shown. And so I figured I went on the big the habanero. So I have the habanero. I'm going to do habanero for all the questions, and we'll see how we do. All right.
Can I just interject that no one said what size the spoon needed to be? So this is the smallest spoon that I could find. Do you see?
Shenanigans.
That all right?
That's cheating. Look at my spoon.
I know.
Ooh, big
I have a real spoon. I have a real spoon. Okay.
But I was concerned about that.
To use this spoon.
You have to have a real spoon. It's important. And I have my drip tray so that I'm allowed to eat my hot sauce in here. See? Very important.
Can I tell you what I thought about doing?
Yeah.
And I thought about emptying them and putting just some liquid in them, some colored liquid, because and people out there watching are like, well, Carol, why would you do this if you are so terrified of it? Which is a great question. And
So
one that I'm asking myself.
It's something that I wanted to address before we start this. So this is random, completely ridiculous. You never met in person, though we are pretty well acquainted at this point. So I randomly send out an email to you people, say I'd like to do an education show about hot sauce, and everybody agreed. and then we set up this time to do it. So I think, and I know it's goofy and it's funny, but I would like to point out that these educators in this room are really modeling the, take a leap and build your wings on the way down, perseverance, try new things, embrace failure. And thank you very much for that.
Oh gosh.
It's
Don't
real.
try to
It's
make
true.
this sound innovative.
What's not innovative about it?
It's just fun. No, it is. It takes some courage.
Okay.
It takes
Shane's
some
here.
grit.
We got our last person.
Yay!
Oh my goodness, that's loud.
Grit.
Wow. Okay. Hi.
Shane.
Shane is
Sorry to
here.
interrupt.
I was gonna bail because you didn't show.
No. My computer was just being geriatric, and so Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm here.
That's
And
all, Shane. We're just about
I'm
to
sorry that I'm here.
We're just about to crack some hot sauces, and
Yeah,
so
I've been watching on my phone while my
Oh, good.
computer just took its sweet time rebooting.
So you caught the origin story then, because you were looking for that.
I did. I still think this is a dumb idea, but
Which do you think is? Oh yeah, but that's all right. I wonder
you
which
wanna-
one do you think is hotter?
Carol, if you
That
want to
one.
go in least hot, you want to start with Tabasco, or your Louisiana, then your Tabasco, and then your super Tabasco. That's
Yeah.
your order.
Okay.
There's-
Yeah.
there's
right.
me tonight. This is me.
Can I explain
Habanero pepper.
I don't know if you guys are watching the chat room here in the live panel, but can I explain my my bow tie to people before we start the hot sauce?
There's
Yes,
a chat.
please.
There's a chat window.
There's a chat. I got the live stream going on, but I pointed out that tonight was ridiculous, and Derek has this idea to make the four of us drink hot sauce and then ask each other questions. And then in the Twitter DMs, everybody's all concerned about me not being professional. Everybody's all concerned about me like ruining their image of what professionalism is. And I'm like, first of all, Derek is making us all eat hot sauce live on YouTube. As a bunch of podcasters and radio people, we're all live on YouTube right now eating hot sauce. And I'm the one being called into question. So I decided to dapper it up a little bit this evening. I got a nice little backdrop going on. I got my planning period logo behind me. I got my planning period shirt on. I'm rocking my podcast, but I'm the one we're worried about. Just throwing it out there. I'm the one.
I'm glad you said that. Well, apologies. Apologies. Goodness.
Gotta get hold of it together. So with that, since we're 8 minutes in, you need to choose your first weapon, folks,
Let's do it.
and pour yourself your first spoonful of,
Oh my
of
God.
hot sauce of choice.
This little plastic
All right.
cap is going to make this hard. I'm just going to take that off.
Don't.
Oh
make
gosh,
it
yeah, this is gonna
worse.
take forever.
Yeah, I'm just taking that plastic cap off.
Yeah. Can I tell a story about habanero peppers though?
You're invited to,
Please.
please.
That is so much hot sauce.
Yeah,
when
this is
you
what's
serve it.
scaring me.
This is so much hot sauce.
Wait, do we ask the question first and then we eat it or what?
We're gonna eat it, and then I'm gonna ask the question. But you can tell your story while we're all getting ready. Carol's
Because
trying to get the hot sauce.
years ago, I was like actually cutting up a habanero pepper, and so then just being an idiot, like after cutting it, did it with bare hands, and then I like decided I'll just lick my fingers.
Oh no!
And then
Ooh,
I have never
yeah.
eaten half a loaf of bread and 3 glasses of milk so fast in my life.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh my gosh!
Why are you telling that story?
No, there's part 2 because then like an hour later, I just went like my eye was a little itchy or whatever, so I scratched my eye.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
that's
is
a
it?
bad choice.
Oh, it was just like hell in my eyes. It was terrible. And now I'm gonna ingest a whole spoonful of this stuff.
All right, are we ready?
No, we're
go.
not. What?
Oh.
No, we're not. Wait.
Technical difficulties.
I'm having trouble. I'm having hot sauce difficulty. Okay. The Louisiana stuff. This is embarrassing.
Well, you gotta
So
go
the
up a level, then. Just
Louisiana
go higher.
hot sauce.
Did anyone else think to bring Kleenex?
I have to go higher because I don't know if you can see it, but this thing has been in my cabinets for so long because I don't like hot sauce that it kind of just coagulated and it won't come out.
Coagulated. Your SAT work for the day on this clearly professional podcast.
The other ones I bought.
All right, Carol.
So I'm going up. I'm leveling up. Oh, God.
Here we go.
Can we ask the question, or do we eat and then ask the question?
We eat, and then I'm going to ask the question.
Who's asking the first question?
Okay.
Derek's got the first question.
He's asking the first question. Here we go.
All right.
Ready?
All right.
And 1, 2, 3.
Oh, boy. Damn. All right, folks. So you're embracing the heat. Let the heat go through and let it encompass you. Hopefully that first bead of sweat is appearing on your brow. And while that sweat is coming through your brow, what I'm encouraging you to think about is all of the times when you were as an educator, people giving you advice or telling you things to do. They're giving you all these wonderful sage pearls of wisdom. They're not always sage and they're not always awesome. Kind of like that hot sauce you just ate. So what is the worst advice you have ever received, or what is the piece of advice that you would most recommend people not follow that you have received as an educator?
I call dibs on last on this one because I honestly can't think of an answer right now.
I have one if no one's stuck.
I figured you did. Actually, no, the worst piece of advice I ever got was when someone's like, you should go on a show and eat hot sauce.
Yeah.
If someone says that.
Oh, man.
That's not good advice.
I am literally sweating. Do you see that?
I am too. How's that habanero? I'm not looking forward to leveling up to that.
That's only the Tabasco habanero is only the second hottest I have, people. I just want to point that out.
Ah. I can answer it.
All right. Go ahead, Carol.
No, I can't. I lost it. Why would people do this? Why would people put this on their phone?
All right, Brad, how would you answer that question?
Oh, man. I could have gotten so much bad advice. The one that I always go to, and it's not just advice that's given to me, but it's common advice, and it's the don't smile till Christmas or don't smile till January. And I feel like that's kind of cheating because it's a common go-to as bad advice. But God, it's just such terrible advice. That doesn't build relationships. It doesn't make your kids trust you, and it really just doesn't. My mouth hurts. Oh, I did not plan for how hard this was going to be to answer real questions.
Well, I mean, it reminds me of, some really terrible advice that I got as well, which is, like never, ever, ever touch your students. And of course, that's true 98.5% of the time. But I mean, like if you want to give a student a pat on the back or something like that can be a really powerful thing. So that to me, like I was just mortified if even brushed someone's elbow in the hallway, and that kind of thing. And I remember a student when I was in my APT, sorry, it's a Canadian speak for my I don't even know what you call it in the US, where I was practice teaching and a student hugged me and it was terrifying because I didn't know what to do. It was like, it was just like sort of, I couldn't move. Obviously professional bounds and all the rest of it, but at the same time, like I'm a firm believer in like high fives and pats on the back. I think that's a solid thing to do. As long as you know your students and they're comfortable with you. So I think because that stood in the way, I think for me with a lot of students where, I don't know. I'm having trouble thinking here too because hot sauce.
Yeah, it's a funny
because hot sauce.
It's a funny gray area, and I can feel the waves like slowly ebbing, but they're still there in like the back of my throat.
Yeah. That's where I'm feeling it too. Yeah.
And,
I have one. I have an answer.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me when I was offered the job from being in the 4th grade classroom and I'd been a teacher a while, I was offered a job to go to the district and be a specialist and be a support. And I had several people tell me not to take that job because I would lose touch with students. And I had, you got into it for teaching, and teaching is where the kids, you make those connections. And it was super hard for me to take that job. But in you know, I had other people tell me, you can affect even more students. It's how you look at it. You can help teachers, you can learn and grow more, and you can always go back to the classroom if you miss it that much. And so I feel like the first advice, I'm glad I didn't take the first advice, because I stayed out of the classroom for 7 years. It was great. And now I'm back, and I've been back for 2 or 3 years. And now I do kind of both. I consult and I teach. And so I think those people were right that said, you know, take that next step, because you can always go back to the classroom. And I did.
Yeah, I think I like
I'm
that.
proud of myself for answering a question.
You did well. You did well. I think what Shane said, it applies to yours as well, of these gray areas, right? Of we get advice that comes across as always 100%, but there are these gray areas that it's different for each one of us, and you have to be able to make that adaptation. So I have a clock going to make sure that we don't talk for too long, let the pain subside too much before we go to the next. And I can feel the wave of pain releasing and reducing. So I think it's time for question number 2.
Oh, God.
No, it's not.
All right. Let's do it. I'm in.
I'm not leveling up yet.
I'm on the Tabasco
leveling up.
habanero. I'm leveling up.
No, sir. No, Brad.
Brad, I started a habanero, man.
I'm sticking with this.
I have 4.
Yeah,
so
you have 4.
This is
yeah, no, come on,
horrible
man.
enough.
Oh, this is not working at all. I see where you guys struggled.
Yeah.
This is not.
Wait, where are you
coming out.
ending up, Brad? Where are you going to end up? What's
it's
your
intense.
hot sauce?
It's Iguana XXX. It literally says on the back that it's 45% habanero peppers.
Oh boy,
It's just
that sounds like fun.
It's all. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to like drink out of this with a straw.
I want credit for all of this that I'm drinking. It's a lot.
That is a lot.
Okay, so
Good work.
I'm the second question, right?
You are the second question. Wow, the amount of sweat is amazing. Holy cow.
Nothing.
Is there some
Look at this.
calorie burning factor to this? There needs to be.
There must be.
I think there is.
It's really cold where I am right now. Okay.
Me too.
Oh gosh.
All right, Shane.
Did
So
y'all do it already?
here we go.
All right, here we
Number
go.
2.
Okay.
Oh
It doesn't get better.
no, it doesn't. Oh. Okay. This is sort of the corollary to this moment. What's your proudest moment as a teacher?
Ah,
This moment.
What? That's
cut
nonsense.
nothing of what y'all said.
I second Derek. This is the best moment. This is the proudest moment of my career. Just
As a teacher, as an educator.
yeah. That's a
Go,
nice
Brad.
full teaspoon. I just want everybody to see that.
Go,
Nice and
Brad.
full. All right. Oh God. Bad choice.
Yeah.
Don't want to level up to that.
All right, Shane. Let's reiterate what we got here. Let's say it one more time.
Okay.
I think people lost it.
burns.
Yeah, I
It
got
burns.
lost in the mix. What's your proudest moment as a teacher?
I actually have an answer for this if I can get it out before the burn kills me. So I do a thing called NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month. And when I taught oh God, it hurts. When I taught middle school, I used to get my kids to do it with me. And I had a girl who in 8th grade, she tried it in 7th and did not complete it for various reasons. And in 8th grade, she tried it again. And oh God, it hurts so bad. And National Novel Writing Month encourages you to write a 50,000 word novel in 30 days in the month of November. So you have November 1st, November 30th, write 50,000 words. And it's an insane feat. But when you finish, you submit your words. It gives you this video, and it's like, congratulations, yay! And she was a student who struggled all the time. Was not a phenomenal student, but really just clicked in my class. This was the year after she was in my class anymore. She was an 8th grader now. I had in 7th, and she was in my room before school because kids were coming before school and during lunch and after school. So it was kind of this whole month of buildup. And there's this moment where she finishes her novel, and we knew the YouTube video wasn't going to load on her computer. So I said, okay, come over to my computer and submit the completion because I want you to see this. So she's standing at my computer and hits submit, and this video comes up, and it's all the people that work at National Novel Writing Headquarters going, like, yay, you wrote a novel, blah, 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 blah. And it's this really cool video. And she turns around and looks at me, and I'm sitting behind her in my desk. I just wheeled out of the way, and she turns around and she looks at me, and with literal look, and it literally, that moment, that look is ingrained upon my brain, even as I'm suffering through the heat. I'm like, I'm sweating, I'm dying, and still I'm also getting chills from remembering that moment. It is easily I think will probably always be, you know, there's a lot more details and circumstances that I can't always share, but you know, it's probably the best moment. I think it'll always be the best moment of my career.
Right on, man. Derek, we're on SaucED Radio, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I just for a visual here, I just like I can only see Carol in a little window here, but I mean honestly, like it looks like she's praying. Like, maybe you are. I don't know. I don't want to presume anything, but it's just this solemn look on your face.
I'm so moved by Brad's story. It's still in my mind. My mind is like, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. When will this be over? Beautiful moment, Brad. I've got to go.
You know what's killing me is that breathing out part.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's for me. Yeah.
I don't know why people do this.
I'm experiencing more.
No one else does this, Carol. It's just us. The four of us are the only people that do this. No one does this.
Someone for their food.
Carol, with that, I need you to tell us yours because it's just so much fun to hear you talk.
Oh, good. My proudest moment. This. I've never had so much hot sauce in my life. So this would be it.
Yeah.
No, I gotta think. I have multiple ones. When Brad was saying that, I was thinking, you know, about my students, and lately, it's probably gonna be anytime I see them take a risk, and I work with students who are new to the language, and so lately I've had an opportunity to see those kids, some of my students, get up, not just in front of their peers, but in front of the school, and then lately in front of teachers, and give advice to teachers on working. And so that takes so much courage on their part. And I can't imagine being more proud in my job than that. That's all I got. That's it.
Good work, Carol. The pauses were beautiful. In between.
My mouth is on fire. Why do people do this?
Because they're friends with Derek Rodenizer, I guess.
They don't know how to say no.
Bad friends. We have bad friends.
Right?
Like, this doesn't come up when people are like #GrowPLN. It's like, this is not part of it.
Are you sure?
Well, apparently it is.
Yeah, right.
For a select few.
So I want to call attention to the thing that keeps rattling around in my head. Is
pain? Is it pain?
There's a lot of pain and sweat. It's spectacular. Like, can you see the beads? It's amazing. Okay.
I'm not happy.
You sound like my daughter when she's gone too far past nap time.
I don't like it. And I'm dreading the next sauce. I'm dreading it.
Oh, right. You haven't done the habanero yet.
God, no.
Oh yeah, the habanero sucks. Not gonna lie.
It's hot.
I'm such a wuss. I'm gonna do it once, and I'm gonna do it's gonna be the last one.
Or
Let's
not.
This next one, the last.
I'm worried you're gonna like start swearing or something here, and getting kind of vulgar.
She's doing just fine.
5.
So I'm gonna call attention to the micro wins, because this is what I keep thinking about is, we say the most proud moment. I think a lot of my proud moments are that time when, you know, the student who really, really just didn't want to write, didn't want to be in school, didn't want to do the task that Mr. R was putting out, and in the struggle and the conversations and the building relationships, and that day that they walked in and just sort of did it, and how proud they were for those tiny moments. You know, I have a couple. I don't think I have. I like your story, Brad. That was excellent. But every time when I'm thinking about all the moments that I'm most proud of, it's always those tiny little things where you see that kid that was super upset and uncomfortable, and all of a sudden is comfortable and does want to talk to you and does want to approach other kids and be part of the classroom. I think it's the thing that gets me through all the difficult days, and even when you look back, I think it's the thing that pops up a lot. And there's so many of them, and I kind of forget when I'm talking to other people in other careers. I forget how lucky we are to have all of those micro wins. I think it's kind of unusual, and my conversations I've had with other people in other careers is that they don't see that all the time. And yeah, I see lots of challenges and I see lots of problems and I deal with those, but I also get a lot of those micro wins. I got a fist bump from a grade 8 today in the hallway that made my day. So I think those need to be acknowledged before we go to the next level. Oh, are you monitoring the live feed, Brad? Is there any questions from them we need to deal with before we go again?
It's mostly just Sarah and Steven laughing at us. That's really all it is.
Emily Francis is watching. And so that's giving me strength that my friend is out there going, "Yay, Carol, you're doing great. Good advice, Carol."
See, you have to level up for her now.
Yeah, I don't know if you're doing great, but you're certainly doing it.
I think my wife is watching too.
Great advice.
Your wife is watching too.
My wife, she's like, "You're an idiot. I have to see this." So
I told my fiance to watch, and I'm sure I have my kids watching. I know at least one of my students is watching right now. I'm sure. Oh, look, there's my best friend just jumped in the live chat. Wow.
Okay, so I'd like to put out this. So if there's anybody out there, if there are any students or spouses, please think of a question and put it out, because we will get these folks to answer it, because.
Well, and every question comes with a spoonful of hot sauce. Is that the thing?
No, not audience questions. Not audience questions.
You know what? I'm going to make an exception. Somebody's student, it requires another round of hot sauce.
Oh God! Don't.
I thought this was the last round. Where we?
We have two more. We have Brad.
I have
and
to
then
ask
we
a question.
yours.
You have to ask a question still, Carol.
Yeah.
Why don't we get Carol to ask one now?
Can I just ask a yes or no question? Are you happy? Yes. No. All right, let's just do 2 back to back. Done. Let's go.
Right.
All right, folks.
I'll just drink from this bottle.
We're going into Brad's hot sauce or Brad's question. So we're leveling up. Carol, it's habanero time.
This is my Jamaican
leveling up.
hot sauce.
I'm leveling up at the end. At the end. Please.
This is my Jamaican hot sauce. There we go.
Should I now?
Yeah, you should do it. You should level up.
Listen, I think you should.
Because you're such a good friend.
Yes, I am.
As the kids say, YOLO.
But hey, good. Okay.
I am super professional.
I'm taking the. Okay. Oh God.
That spoon wasn't full
What is
enough.
a habanero?
I don't want to.
It is hard. It's hard to get it out.
It helps if you hit the spoon. That does help. I learned that the last time.
But why is it so thick? That means it's not going to go away fast.
It's like fire paste.
It is. Yeah,
listen for your mouth.
While we're waiting for Carol and you guys to look at my last level, you can see the seeds. Like, you can see the seeds of just pure habaneros in this thing. I'm gonna hate myself for this. So, Iguana XXX, whoever you are, I don't like you. All right. We ready?
We going?
Let's do it.
No,
Ready?
I'm not ready.
Wait. Let's do it together. Carol, are you ready?
I will never be ready.
All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
Go.
Oh.
What the heck? What the heck? Why?
Oh God.
Oh my God, my throat. Oh my God. Oh.
Beauty. All right, Brad, what's your question?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we just had such a positive question, and I'm gonna switch gears on you a little bit, and I'm gonna say, what is, because I've had this. I want to preface this a little bit. I've had this drive recently to focus on an honest and true self on social media and the internet and my podcast and my website and my blog. So my question is, what is your biggest mistake? What is the biggest thing you look back on and wish you could take over?
Hot sauce ED.
I think the moral of today is all of this was both the best and worst moment of our lives. I think that's...
Okay.
Oh, awesome. My parents are
sorry about-
watching.
Okay.
Oh, great. Hi, Shane's parents.
This is nothing like this. Nothing.
Do I need to remind you of this? I have this coming up. This has been sitting here like a dead body. I know I have to deal with at some point.
It's still burning so bad. Why?
Wait till tomorrow.
No, hush. Hush. Too much
Going
information.
down like a burning ring of fire. Down.
Okay, so what is your biggest mistake? Is that what we're doing, Brad?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a question in there somewhere.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Well, it was kind of a double-edged thing, but I remember years ago, like our school puts on like just enormous musicals. We have, we're a tiny school with 600 kids, and we put on musicals that like literally, I'll blow my own. We put to shame schools 10 times our size. No joke. And they're incredible. And so I used to direct these things. And one year I used to co-direct, I should say, but my co-director, her father was very ill, and so she had to spend a lot of time literally out of the country with her dad. So I was doing this essentially by myself. I choreographed, I directed, I did so all the blocking, I designed the set, I built the set, and I had a lot of help. Don't get me wrong, but nonetheless, I was putting in 60 hours a week on directing this thing, plus my regular job, plus trying to have a functioning relationship with my wife. And it was, I made some bad choices because I put way too much effort into that thing, the musical, and it wrecked me. Classic, a classic case, or something like a nuclear case of just work-life imbalance. And I mean, I learned a lot from it, but it was damaging, right? It was hard. I was a wreck after it, and I had to kind of reconcile a lot of things after that. Like I'd reconcile relationships with my students, and with my wife, we had some stuff we had to work through as well, because I put way too much into the musical and not enough into my personal life, and I was I was beyond empty. So there you go. How's that for negative and dark, Brad?
You went right where I needed you to. I appreciate that. The reflective practice is critical if you don't recognize your mistake.
Like I was in a dark place. Like my cat scratched me on my wrist, and then the next day I got another scratch on my wrist, and they were like more like cuts, and they were like in the same direction as my veins. And kids were looking at me like, "Is Mr. Lawrence cutting?" No, they were no, but
I mean that's not funny, but I can't handle like emotions aren't wired correctly anymore.
Yeah,
I think
no,
your synapses have been turned away.
I get it, but I mean, kids were like really worried about me because I was not in a good place at all. So I haven't directed a musical since, and I'm a lot happier for that. Like, it was a hard decision even at that, but I'm glad I did, because I'm a happier, healthier person because of it. And I learned that that's more important than, putting on a great version of West Side Story.
Oh.
Well, the work-life balance is probably something a lot of us struggle with, I bet. It's certainly,
that was the breaking point for me. That's where I was like, oh, I need to really pay attention to this. There you go.
So Brad, I was on the My Bad podcast a little while ago, so I did a lot of time thinking about this. I don't know if you guys have watched or listened to that podcast. But my lips are absolutely on fire.
I'm just trying to air out my tongue.
They've passed the point of
I don't like it.
Hot uncomfortableness. Yeah, it's brutal. Also, it's kind of moved location, so it was back of throat. Now it's front of lips and bottom of stomach.
Oh yeah, no, mine's working that way. It's not good.
Oh yeah.
Eat some bread. Eat some bread. It'll help.
Bread and milk is on the agenda next, my friend. Oh, whose idea was this?
Yours. It was your idea.
I know.
Oh, okay. So I was on the My Bad podcast and I spent some time thinking about it and the biggest mistake that I made. And it's funny because I think I often throw out that I make mistakes all the time, and I do, but it is kind of rare that we sit back and think about it and actually list them. And so I did it's not done, but I gotta finish it. I did a fail resume. Do you guys know what these are?
Nope.
So you create a resume like you would, except instead of trying to sell yourself, you list all of your major failures. So your positions and then all your major failures within those positions.
Uh-huh.
And it was surprisingly challenging to do. I mean, to actually, because we push these out of our minds, right? And like we say, we try to learn from our failures, and that's true, and we do. But often, especially the micro ones, we push them out of our mind and we try to move on. So it was a really cool exercise doing that. And the one that I shared there, which hasn't actually gone live yet, it was like months ago. And I think is one of the biggest mistakes I made early in my career as an administrator, because it was kind of global, is figuring out that role and how to make things more sustainable. I had this school garden. Oh man, this is killing me. I had this school garden that I had built, and it got huge. I got really into it. I got really excited about it, and it went from this one plot to like 8 plots in the school garden, and I put a ton of effort into it, and I had students out there, and I had like a lunchtime program that was going, that we were feeding from the garden. It was massive. I then moved in the same school to the VP role, and what I realized is I had created like Mr. R's garden, and it wasn't the school's garden. And then I got upset at people for not picking up the torch and running with it. Yet I had not empowered anybody to do anything, and it was this sort of blind expectation that teachers would fill the gaps and do what needed to be done, without realizing that, just like you do in your classroom, you need to understand the roles of who's in the building and empower people and encourage people to get involved. And so that was a huge lesson for me that I don't think I am saying correctly, because all I can think about is the burning in my guts. But
yeah, it's starting to work its way through. This is not good.
Whew.
Not good.
All right, Carol, your turn.
I'm gonna let Brad go. I'm gonna
it was
let
his
Brad
question.
talk.
My question. I don't think that's.
I just love, again, the visual of Carol. Like, it looks like she's like, do I have lips anymore? I can't.
I know. I can't believe how much it hurts.
Oh God.
So I'm gonna say what I think about that comes to mind is I went back to teach in my old neighborhood when I first started teaching, and I had people tell me not to have relationships with kids outside of school and with your families, and to keep your distance. I went out of my way at that time to do that, to cut the, not tell any kids where I lived, even though I lived pretty close to the school. But my own kids started going to this school, and you just can't help but you're a mom teacher then at the school. And it quickly became apparent to me that I love that there's some trickiness. I'm sorry, my nose is running like crazy.
Yes. Doing great, Carol. I'm very proud of you.
It's tricky to do that, because up to this day, we moved now closer to the high school where I teach now. And my son is a high school student, the age of my students, and they're in the neighborhood. A lot of my students live around the block. Somebody was playing basketball in my driveway this weekend, and I looked at it. It was some students that were just using our yard. So I was like, well, let's go outside. It's a pretty day. Let's go play basketball with them. And so I kind of love that. I love that there was a community potluck, and specifically for my kids, and I could bring my family, and we took kids trick-or-treating that were new to the country in our neighborhood, or some students and their kids that just don't know the tradition. And so I feel like the biggest mistake I made early on, I'm sorry. It hurts so bad. Really?
You shouldn't be sorry, Derek should be sorry.
There's a point in there. There's a point in there somewhere. I'm going to ask y'all to figure it out. I'm just gonna ask you to figure it out.
I get it.
Early on, I thought that was
missed
bad.
that piece in your career early on. Early on, you wish that you had that piece in your career. I understand.
Let kids play basketball in your yard. That's what I learned.
Why did
Let kids play basketball.
Well, I get it. I do get it. It's very tricky. Like you want your personal life, but I wouldn't have moved to the neighborhood where my school is if I wasn't okay with that overlap. And so I kind of love it. That's it. So the mistake was early on, and I embrace it now.
Oh, gosh.
Good work, Carol.
Well done.
All right.
Thank
we
you.
answered that
I'm
question
so
now?
proud of myself.
No, Brad didn't answer it.
Do I have to answer my own question?
Why?
I'm going to kind of... Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to steal from Derek a little bit, and I think there's a whole lot of micro mistakes. I kind of... It's interesting now. So I'm in my 4th year at the school I'm at. I started as a 9th grade English teacher. And as much as I wanted to call myself a forward-thinking, innovative, open-minded teacher, there were those times that my preconceived notions or the first week of school, a kid set me off wrong, or I just decided this kid was a problem. And, now that I'm at this school for the 4th year, I get to see some of those kids and what they've become as seniors, and they're 17, 18, about to go to college, about to do something with their lives. And there's one in particular I'm thinking about in my head that just every time I see this kid on campus, this kid is a success. This kid has done something, has become a perfectly functional adult. And yet I had this mindset, this belief that they were not, and they were destined for destruction in their life. And I look back on that part of myself with just genuine loathing. Like that guy, that I was that guy that was convinced that the decisions of a 13-year-old child, a 14-year-old child, were representative of some sort of human being they were going to become in the long term. And I admonish anyone that feels that way now, and I did back then too, and yet I still did it in some sort of like exceptional level. Like every kid's justifiable and a good person except for that one right there. And like that sort of hypocrisy, I think I genuinely think most of us, if not all of us, are guilty of it on some level or not, but I still am disappointed in myself when I'm confronted with it.
That's a good one.
Man, the hot sauce brings out the good stuff. See? Yeah. It's the hot sauce.
Right?
We just want to answer it quickly and just get it over with.
At work.
Well, I don't want to. We've got some stuff coming in on social media, and I want to bring it up. So I think it's fair we mention it because it's coming in. So on the chat, Jeanette Lawrence, who I think at least one person on this podcast might know, is asking, what makes teaching worth it?
Jeanette, what do you got to bring up a question for?
Hey, now be nice.
That means more hot sauce.
Oh, wait, whoa. We just kind of broke a cardinal rule of the show. We didn't take a shot of hot sauce for that question.
Whoa. We specifically said no hot sauce on
unless it's a student. Unless it's a student.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Trust me, I would not have asked that question if it had come from a student. Don't worry.
Because
the rules of the show are steadfast. The rules.
Just now, am I comfortable again? Let's answer Jeanette's question.
I'm buying you a little bit of time until you have to ask your question, Carol.
Thank you. Indebted.
All right. Who's going first?
So what makes it worth it?
What was the question again?
Well, what makes it worth it? Why bother? What's the deal with this teaching thing?
Great question.
I'll go first.
Yeah,
I mean, she's next door. She can probably just, if I talk loud enough, she can probably just hear me. But I mean, the reason I'm going to go first though is because you're all thinking probably the same thing, and I'm going to say it first, and then I don't have to say me too. I mean, honestly, it's the students. It's the relationships that you get to have with the kids. I mean, I like being able to be alongside kids as they are growing academically and psychologically, personally, spiritually, socially, all these different elements that are part of, a person. And they're in such a huge state of flux at that point in their life. And sorry, Brad, I got you on the big screen, on the big window here with your hot sauce and your whatever that grin means. But it's such an honor, I think, honestly, to be alongside those kids and just, help them as they're discovering who they are. So, man, this is getting raw.
Yeah.
But that's honestly it for me.
Yeah.
That's why I go. That's why I go.
So I agree. I really
That's
do.
awesome.
And I think that's the thing, right? Is we want to see kids growing and we want to be involved in their successes. Additionally, to add a second layer, I really, really get an intellectual kick out of solving educational problems. I find it really interesting to figure out, okay, so this student is having a problem in their class. They're not comprehending the instruction. How can we figure out a way to change the instruction? How can we figure out a way to change the environment? What can we do to make it click for that kid? And I love that puzzle. I love it. I love tackling that puzzle from different angles because every child presents a different puzzle. They're all unique, right? As humans, we all have different little nuances, and that intellectual push and stimulation gets me excited and interested.
Well,
and the hot sauce has fully moved to my belly, belly.
It's bad.
Oh,
it's bad.
God. Yeah.
I have two things. Number one, my former best friend Matt is in the chat and also messaging me on Facebook, and I have to share his joke on Facebook, which I made better because his wasn't very good. He said, by the way, or it says, they're saying their lips are on fire now. Wait till they feel their cheeks tomorrow.
Oh God, Josh!
I added the cheeks part because his joke wasn't as good, but I liked that one better. And he also pointed out in the YouTube live chat that Jeanette is a student of life, a lifelong learner, and clearly hot sauce worthy. And while I don't agree with him in any way whatsoever, this shot of hot sauce is for him before I answer Jeanette's question. So I just think it's fair.
No! Here, Brad.
Brad, wait.
There you go. Brad, we're gonna join you. We're gonna have solidarity.
You're on your own. Why are y'all
No,
doing
I wasn't expecting anyone to follow, but I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Jeanette?
Seriously, am I the only one not going to do it?
Don't do it. Please don't. It's for your own good. Don't do it.
Carol, I'm married to her. I've kind of got to. So it's all good.
But I respect Jeanette.
That one hurt more than the last one.
You know what?
Oh, God.
This stuff hurt so much. I'm only going to do half a spoon.
Why don't you tend to pull the baby spoon?
Yeah. No.
But
no, I've come this far. And there's no way that I'm going to let you guys show me up. I'm already ruined. I'm ruined for tomorrow.
Just reach down deep in your gut, Carol, and stomach through it.
I don't want
Quite literally.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right. Well, here we go. Oh.
It's like it takes a second.
Let the waves run. Let the waves.
All right. I love watching Carol.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to piggyback on your guys' answers over top of Carol's soundtrack of screaming. And while I love the students and the solving problems, I think one of the ways I go home happiest at the end of a day are when I have had just phenomenal conversations with other educators. And I think that's really is not just the problem solving, not just collaborative problem solving, but those moments where you sit down and you have a chat and you're just like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Wow, I didn't think about it that way. And in your back of your head, you're going, man, I think they're walking out saying the same thing about me. And we're both going to leave here and go impact kids and impact other teachers and just have this exponential, awesome impact. And I think that's the most direct thing I can. I don't know. I hate. Oh God, that's what I got. Oh God.
Beautiful.
Okay, that is pretty great, Brad. I hear you.
I like that, Brad.
All right, Carol.
I want to say,
You got the last
my
question.
mouth hurts and I don't want to talk out of it. It really does
You're the only
hurt
person-
more to speak.
You're the only person who hasn't asked a question yet.
Okay, I'm gonna answer the question.
Right on.
Okay.
I seriously don't want to open my mouth. It hurts so bad. I'm just gonna ditto what you guys said. Of course, it's the kids, but I teach. I've had the most fulfilling years the last couple of years with some students that are really overcoming a lot of struggles, and it's so incredible when they, realize their potential, when they see that things like grit. I know it's dangerous to talk about grit narratives, that you don't want to put it all on the students, their success, but they come with these character traits that we want for everybody. They've already overcome something hard. When they realize that they can apply that to academics or to learning a language or to learning a sport or to learning anything, it's the most fulfilling thing for me to see people get excited about what they can do. And I just am excited to be any small part of that. So it's awesome. I really hate this.
All right, Carol. Well, the good news is there's 9 minutes left, and 1 question, and it's from you. And take solace in knowing that the hot sauce that Brad is about to ingest is way worse.
There's no way. How can you do that, Brad? How can you do this? This
habanero
is miserable.
peppers, 45.6%. I don't know if you can really read that, but 45.6% habaneros.
What am
Ours
I
is not
doing?
that. Not that.
Not that. It's definitely not that.
Okay.
I feel like I have no layer of
Here we go,
mouth.
Carol. This is it.
Oh,
When you're done, it's done.
There
This'll be the
are
end. Walk away.
there are literal chunks in my spoon. Like you can, it's not even.
Battery.
I just dripped it on my keyboard.
Is the keyboard melting? Is it melting?
Probably. Oh God, it's on my hand now. I should have had a drip plate. Why don't I have a wife to tell me these things? Oh God.
Drip plate.
Oh God, it's all.
Oh my God. That's gonna
we
burn
doing
your
this?
skin,
Here's a
man.
question.
Are we doing this?
Here's a question.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, ready? 1.
Hang on, I'm not. Do I have to do it too?
I think you should
I have
ask
to
the
do
question
it? Yes.
first. I think she should ask the question first. Otherwise, it's going to be like 3 minutes of screaming.
Okay.
and then the
Yeah.
question.
Okay, ask the question. Ask the
okay.
question
Can I
first,
ask the
Carol.
question first? Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, so it's a right now question. What is your biggest challenge that you're having right now, and what steps are you taking to overcome it? Go.
Ready? Go.
Milk.
I'm waiting to see what the first words out of Brad's mouth are.
You know, the problem with habanero peppers is they're a slow burn. Here it comes. Oh God, here it comes.
Yes.
I know. It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets so much worse.
Oh, it hurts.
Oh.
Oh my God, it's awful. Gosh, stupid.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh, we got 6 minutes.
We're going.
6 minutes.
Fine.
All right, so
me
the
some
biggest
answers.
challenge you have right now, Shane, outside of this hot sauce.
Yeah, my biggest challenge, honestly, is male students. Straight up. From an academic standpoint, they lag way behind the girls. And I also, like, just because I'm me, I don't relate as well to guys as I do to girls. Like, I've been this way since I was a kid. It's just like, I don't know. I don't relate to like machismo or, like drinking hot sauce. I don't know. but I'm not a competitive person at all, like at all. So I'm not into sports. Like when everyone else was in sports, like I was listening to musical theater stuff, whatever. Point is, I have a hard time relating to guy students. And that's my biggest challenge because I want to reach them. I want to like get on board with them. And I mean, it's not like I don't, it's complete wasteland. I have plenty of other like guy type interests, but it's hard to find common ground with a lot of my students, who kind of fit that mold of like sort of sporty macho, but like I got nothing. So that's my biggest challenge right now. And I really want to be able to bridge that gap somehow because it affects my classes. That's me.
All right. It's balancing the needs of teachers, students, and administration and the district, because I feel like as an instructional coach, I sit in the middle of all of those people, like some sort of really weird cluster map. And I feel like I have to balance all those needs and try to make a lot of people happy who have conflicting desires. And it sucks. And I hate Derek.
Why? The most hated man on Twitter.
Why is this hot sauce making me yawn?
That doesn't make sense. I'm not yawning.
Well, anyone else?
Dying.
Oh man, I can't stop yawning.
Maybe it's literally your body giving out on you. It's like, nope, we're done.
It's shutting down.
It's a long sleep. It'll be peaceful. It's okay. It'll stop burning when you close your eyes.
Oh, okay. The balance, Brad, is the challenge, my friend, especially when you're in an administrative role. It's such a challenge. And thinking about all the different moving parts, and you get focused on one, and that takes the other one out of the limelight, and then you totally miss something out on that one. Oh, it's worse when you're talking. Also, I kind of thought that like once it was in, like after Hot Sauce 1, it was just going to be like a wave, like it would just remain. There's like pain that it wouldn't get worse, but it's gotten worse, a lot worse. Okay, so so for me right now, my biggest challenge is this book I'm trying to write. So I'm writing a book, and I am really trying to get a draft out by April 1st. That's my personal goal to myself, and it's a lot of work, and it is really hard to take a job that is full-time with a lot of demands and not take anything from that, and then carve out time to try to do this other thing that is not naturally easy for me, and it's been difficult, but working on it and trying to get through it. And these Sunday night podcasts of talking about it on SaucED Radio are helping. Wow, holy mackerel. Okay, Carol, you.
I'm so ruined. I feel like I got nothing. I used to know things. I don't know anything anymore. I want to say my biggest challenge is Derek's book.
You and me both right now. Yes, that.
I know. I'm struggling with juggling. I'm doing too many things this year. I broke my leg over the holidays. It's directly related to trying to do too many things at the same time. And that's what I'm struggling with, is finding balance. I took way too much, but that's okay. We're figuring it out. And I'm honest with my family. I'm asking everybody for grace, and I'm doing it differently next year. There's so many things that are going to be different about next year. Things like this. Why could I say no, Derek? That's silly. Why we shouldn't do that.
No. Don't put this thing in that category. This has been awesome. And I would like to say thank you all for being awesome sports and doing this. It's been an experience, and you will have this experience
again tomorrow morning.
And the pain will dissipate. It will go away, and you won't feel it anymore. So thank you to all of our listeners. We have a bunch tuned in right now, and then also on SaucED Radio. And a big thank you to Shane and Carol and Brad for being good sports and taking on this challenge. It has been a challenge, and the burning hasn't stopped yet, and it won't stop when I press stop broadcast. I wish it would.
Well, thank you, Derek. It's been fun.
I refuse to thank you. I will not thank you for any of this.
You know, I'm gonna go one step further. I'm gonna go one step further. I would do this again.
Oh God!
You are
I'm not. All right,
done.
listen. There is a live stream coming up on February 3rd that I might be convinced to do this again for.
Hey, Brad, I got the first slot. What do you want to do? I got the first slot on February 3rd.
We've got Jeffrey Robinson listening, Emily Francis. There are people watching right now. So here's your opportunity. February 3rd.
To join in.
Yeah, without
I think it's fair.
I'll watch you.
Or if you don't want to drink hot sauce, have already told Steven, I'm available all day February 3rd. If you want a low barrier of entry and want to do a show just chatting with somebody, I'm available as a guest all day. So anybody looking for someone to fill the airwaves while they're on air, I'll be glad to jump in and join. Not eating hot sauce.
All right, with that, good night.
Wait, we have to